Hello everybody. We just got back from volleyball games, got all the problems worked out while we were there, and had to get my car jumped off on the way home. But we are home now and gonna just go through these problems really quickly. Gonna let them play through. I'm gonna do a little bit of voiceover with explaining, but I'm not going to try to do every step by step by voice, because I'm going to let it play through. If it starts going too fast, pause it, okay? Hopefully you've tried working these out, and this is just to verify your answers and to see if you get stuck. Please realize we've got 3 equations. There are at least 6 different ways. Well, let's see. 3 and 3 is 9. So there's at least 9 to 18 different ways these problems can be worked out, probably. But, this is one way that it can be done. You can decide which of the 3 problems you're going to work with at a time, and you can decide which of the variables you want to eliminate. But don't feel like if you did it a different way that it's wrong. Okay? As long as you're working through the process and you're using the correct process, then and you get the right answer, then you're gonna do just fine. Okay? Oh, turn off my alarm. Okay, let's get started with problem number 1. Alright, here we go. Problem number 1 was x plus y plus z equals -1. 2x minus y plus 2z is -5. Negative x plus 2y equals let's try that again. Negative x plus 2y minus z equals 4. I started out, I was going to work with eliminating my x's. So I started out with problem number 1 and 2. Had to multiply the first problem by -2 and distributed the 2 throughout the problem, including the answer. Added those together, and when I did, I found that the x's and the z's eliminated. We ended up with y equals 1 for our 4th equation. Get things set up for this right here. Y is equal to 1. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to work with equations 1 and 3 as well. Okay, eliminating my x's gave us y is equal to 1 again. So that was equation 5. Now, I decided to go ahead and work through problems 2 and 3 and get rid of my x's as well and see what came up there. Had to multiply my second equation by 2. Ended up with y was 3/2, or y was 2 1/3. Basically, we ended up with not being able to come up with anything other than a y, and 1 out of those 3 times was a different equation, a different answer. So with that one, we ended up with no unique solution. Alright, next equation. Equation number 3. This one is 2x plus y is 9. X minus 2z is -3. and 2x plus 3z is 15. And you'll notice that as I'm writing it out, I'm lining up my variables so that you can see what variables have been left out where. I'm going to start with 1 and 2. I'm going to get rid of my x. Multiplying our second equation by -2. I ended up with y plus 4z was 15 for my fourth equation. You'll notice that my equation 4 and my equation 3 have the same variables, so I use that for my equation 5. Use my equation 4 and 5 to figure out what one of my variables is. I'm going to use my y's to get rid of my y's. Okay, so I end up with z is equal to 3. Plug that back into problem 4. That gives me y is 3. Plug that back into problem 1. And I end up with x is 3. So 3 is my final answer. Problem 7. X plus 5y plus 5z is -10. X plus y plus z is 2. X plus 2y plus 3z is -3. Working with problem 1 and problem 2. Going to eliminate my x's, so I multiply the second equation by -1. My fourth equation, 4y plus 4z is -12. Work with 2 and 3. Multiply number 2 again by -1. My fifth equation is y plus 2z is -5. Work with 4 and 5. I'm going to eliminate my z's here. So I multiply equation 5 by -2. I end up with y is equal to -1. Plug that into equation 5 to solve for z, and z ends up being -2. We'll plug y and z into problem number 2. And we end up with x is equal to 5. And 5, -1, -2 is the answer for 7. Number 8. X minus y minus z is 0. X minus 2y minus 2z is 3. -2x plus 2y minus z is 3. Okay, I'm going to get rid of my x's, I believe. So we're going to multiply the first one by -1. We end up with equation 4 as -y minus z is 3. Then we'll use 1 and 3. multiply the first one by 2. We end up with equation 5 because our x's and our y's cancel out. We end up with z is -1 as equation 5, which is our first variable. We'll plug our first variable into equation 4, and we get y is equal to -2. We'll plug that into equation 1, so we have x minus -2 minus -1 is 0. Tick, 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 tick. Change all of our signs because when we subtract a negative, it becomes a positive. And we end up with x is equal to -3. So our final answer is -3, -2, -1. Alright, problem 11. Remember, this is the one where we needed to change a number on problem 3. We changed the 6 to a -4. Alright, and we're going to get rid of our x's first. So I'm working with 1 and 2. I'll multiply the first equation by -1. So my fourth equation is 7y minus 3z is -15. Then I work with 2 and 3, also eliminating my x's. So I'm going to multiply my first equation by -2. Add those together. My fifth equation is -2y plus 4z is equal to 20. Working with 4 and 5, I'm going to get rid of my z's first. So I'll multiply the first by 4 and the second one by 3. So I end up with y is equal to 0. Plug that into equation 5. Z is equal to 20 divided by 4 is z is equal to 5. Plug that y into problem 3 to get my x. And I get x is equal to -2. Final answer, -2, 0, 5. Alright, let's look at problem number 25. Let's stop right there for a second. This says, the sum of 3 numbers is -2. Okay? So the sum of 3 numbers is -2. So x plus y plus z is -2. Then it says, the sum of 3 times the first number plus twice the second number and the third number is 9. Then it says the difference between the second number, which is y, difference being minus, and half the third number, so 1/2 z, is 10. Alright, so now we've got our equations. 1, 2, and 3. Set the rest of my problem up. Okay, I'm going to work with problem 1 and problem 3. I'm going to multiply my third problem by by 2. Okay, when I multiply half by 2, that makes it to 1. So my fourth equation is x plus 3y equals 18. Then I'm going to work with 2 and 3, do the same thing, multiply my second equation by 2, I looked at the 3. Okay. It gives me 3x plus 4y equals 29 for my 5th equation. Looking at 4 and 5, I'm going to multiply number 4 by negative 3 to get rid of my x. And I end up with y is equal to 5. I plug that into problem number 4. Subtract that 15 from 18, and it gives me x is equal to 3. Plug that all into number 1. So 3 plus 5 plus z is negative 2. So z is equal to negative 10. So my first number is 3, my second is 5, my third number is negative 10. Now let's look at number 26 real quick. Last problem. Monica has $1 bills, $5 bills, and $10 bills in her wallet that are worth a total of $96. If she had one more dollar bill, she would have just as many $1 bills as 5s and 10s combined. She has 23 bills total. How many of each denomination does she have? Well, let's start out with 1s will be X's, 5s will be Y's, and 10s will be Z's. So when we add all that up together, X plus Y plus Z is going to be 23. Okay, and then it says that the total of the money is $96. So that's $1 times the number of X ones she has. So that's 1 times X. 5 times the number of $5 bills she has. So that's 5Y. Plus 10 times the number of 10s she has, which is 10Z, for $96. Then it says that if she had one more $1 bill, so the number of ones she has plus 1, so that's X plus 1, is equal to the number of 5s and 10s. So 5s plus 10s. Okay, that gives me equation 1, 2, and 3. Now, I need to get my X for problem 3. I need to get that over onto the other side. So, I'm going to subtract my X from both sides. So, problem 3 is really negative X plus Y plus Z is equal to 1. Now, I'm going to use problems 1 and 3. And I'm going to get rid of my X's. That gives me equation 4 is 2y plus 2z equals 24. Okay, then we're going to work with problems 2 and 3. Again, I'm going to get rid of my x's. So that gives me equation 5 is 6y plus 11z is 97. Get those written up there. Okay, now I'm going to use problem 4 and 5. And I'm going to get rid of my y's. So I'm going to multiply my first equation by negative 3. That gives me Z is equal to 5. So I have 5 $10 bills. I'm going to plug Z into equation 4. That gives me Y is equal to 7, which means I have 7 $5 bills. Then I'll plug Y and Z into equation 1. which tells me that I have 11 $1 bills. Alright, guys. That is it for tonight. I will talk to y'all in the morning. Have a good night.